is Dr. Safdar Bhatti from the Islamia University of Bahawalpur-Pakistan. Basically, I am an IELTS trainer and I have been teaching and training a lot of professionals for the last 3 decades. On the behalf of my long-standing experience, I have been selected for this workshop. And basically, I am very thankful to Dr. Wafa for providing me this chance to speak at this forum. So I traveled through from Pakistan to Dubai just to conduct this workshop. So the topic of my session is IELTS at a glance. What IELTS is, we will discuss about all these things in this session. Respected audience, basically English language proficiency plays a pivotal role in today's globalized world, enabling individuals to effectively communicate, succeed academically, and pursue professional opportunities in an increasingly interconnected and multilingual society, right? Because right now English has become an international language. So the students are going to seek their further studies and the jobs, right? For getting some placement, they need this sort of the programs. As a result, standardized tests have emerged as essential tools for assessing English language skills, facilitating educational opportunities, professional registration, and migration to English-speaking countries. So, among the prominent language proficiency tests, IELTS is the best one to judge the basically the proficiency level of the learners, of the students, how well they are going to perform, how well they speak, how well they communicate. So this is the basically IELTS test. IELTS at a glance. During this session, I would like to brief you about listening module, reading module, and writing module, and the speaking module. Over here, I would like to share some tips and tricks with you. Look at here, what listening skills is. Dear all, listening module takes about just 40 minutes. 30 minutes for your given test, and 10 minutes for converting your answers from the booklet to the answer sheet, right? So, listening consists of 4 sections. There are only 4 sections in your IELTS test. The first one is, there are 40 questions based on all these 4 sections. Every section is having 10 questions. So, there are 40 questions in total. Section 1, there is a conversation between 2 people set in an everyday social context. That can be a conversation about accommodation or driving or moving around, right? And the second section is, that is a monologue. And the third one is the conversation between up to 4 people. It can be in an educational setting, it can be a lecturer. A lecturer is going to deliver his lecture to his students, right? And the last one is basically, that is a talk. Right now we are having a talk. I'm speaking with you, right? There are a lot of other students sitting here and they may have some questions. They are having some queries. So the 4th section will be like that. Dear all, the most important tips for your IELTS test is that utilize your time effectively and efficiently. Don't hurry and don't be panic. This is very important. You don't have to be worried, oh, my test is just for this. Because when you go for your IELTS test, just at the beginning, you are giving the listening module. The students are basically terrified. What is this? For the 30 minutes, they will have to listen different things, right? And then at the end, they are given 10 minutes to transfer their answer from their booklet to the answer sheet. Make sure you are reading the questions, you are understanding them too, and thus turning up your time. Make sure to note the important points of questions like their dates, places, person names. You will have to just note them down because you can be asked for that. And usually the speaker talks in the same order as the questions appear in the booklet. As are the questions, so like there are some answers will be following that. And remember, the tape is played just once. It is not going to be rewinded. So you will have to be focused. You will have to listen very carefully. what the listener, what the speaker is going to say, and which speaker is having what particular voice, the tone. You will have to judge this thing, right? And there is no negative marking. Don't worry about it. Whatever you understand, whatever you come across, you will have to just mark it out, write it down it out. Be careful of, the most important thing is, always be careful about your spellings and punctuation marks mistakes and other mistakes, singular and plural. And there are very important, basically these points are very important, as your correct answer can be marked incorrect if its spellings are wrong. If in the question you were asked about the singular, but in the answer you have written plural, definitely your question will be wrong. Okay? And don't bother to answer directly on the answer sheet. You will have to just write down everything on your booklet, and you will be given some time at the end, 10 minutes, to transfer your answers from the booklet to the answer sheet. This is most important point. And don't choose answers which contradict the general sense of the listening, and practice listening to a wide range of accents. Before sitting in your exam, you will have to watch listen to some American movies and British movies, right? You will have to watch them. In this way, you will come across with different accents. You will be able to understand and capture who is who and what is what. Which person is having this tone and which person is having that tone. You will have to just, I think, distinguish between that. These are some types of questions. Look at here. Short answer questions, multiple choice questions, sentence completion, and labeling the plans and completing notes, labeling a diagram, matching list, classification, and selecting from a given list. You will have to select the answers of those names, right? Next is the reading module. Soon after your listening module, you will be given the reading module, which is having 3 paragraphs, and every paragraph is having 13 or 14 questions. In the total, there are 40 questions in your reading module, right? So you will have to spend 15 to 20 minutes on one paragraph. In this way, you can adjust your 1 hour for 3 paragraphs.
Sorry, paragraph or passage?
Passages, like there are some also other paragraphs over there.
Yeah.
There are basically 3 passages. These are some tips. Look at it. Utilize your time effectively and efficiently. Don't hurry and don't panic, because this is automatically an inborn or inbuilt problem of the students who are taking their IELTS test, because they are so much panic. We have to get this particular score, and they are having, when you are sitting in your exam, don't be panic. Inshallah, Allah will help you. Do the best, leave the rest to Almighty Allah. Right? And don't spend too much time on only one question. This point is very important. You don't have to focus just one question and all. Let's suppose there are 3 passages in your exam, right? You are spending more than 30 minutes on one passage. What the hell will be done with other rest 2 passages? So you will have to divide your time, 15 to 20 minutes, one passage, and move on ahead to the next passage. You will have to go through that and spend some time over there, and at the end, whatever comes in your mind, you get the best, I think, guess, and just tick mark on that, because there is no negative marking in your this IELTS test, right? So you don't have to bother about it, and you will have to guess the meanings of the words, because you see that English is a deep sea. The students don't know the exact meanings of all the words going to be used because of their low vocabulary. So you will have to guess the meaning, which is the best meaning for this one, right? And next is, make sure when you are reading the question, you are understanding them too. Normally, I ask my students to follow the SQ3R formula. S stands for survey, Q stands for question, R1 is for read, R2 for recall, and R3 for review. I ask my students, first you will have to just read out the title. This is your survey. you will come across whether this passage is based on everyday science, right? Literature, linguistics, or computer, or IT, and so and so. So you will come across what sense this passage is having. Then don't read the passage first. First, you will have to read the questions. When you will be reading the questions, just read 3 to 4 questions and then come back to your passage. When you will be reading the passage, you will getting the answers of those questions. Let's suppose the question is about who. It means while reading the passage, you will focus on the name of the person. The question is about where. You will have to find out the answer about while reading. You will have to focus on the place. When. Question is when. Then you will have to focus on the dates. Right? So these are some tips for your students. Always keep yourself cool, alert, and fast. Be very quick. Be very cool. Right? I'm also skipping some points. It is because it is going to be recorded. That will be helpful for you. You can get it from there. And also due to the shortage of time. Answer the questions quickly and accurately. If you cannot do a question quickly, leave it and come back in the end. If you're not going to guess the meaning of your question, then leave it, no issue, right? And then, as the passages are long, you don't have to read them in detail. Skim and scanning them to find the relevant information. What is the skimming and what is the scanning? There are basically 4 strategies of your reading. Skimming, yeah. Ma'am, this is for 50 minutes. This is workshop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I was saying skimming and scanning. Skim means to get the overall gist of the text. Scanning means to whatever comes in your mind, you will have to scan. Right? And intensive reading, to read it intensively. And extensive reading, just reading for the enjoyment. So I asked my student to keep in mind these strategies so to follow up, right? And some questions types are used to see how you deal with specific information and general meaning. Always keep some time in the end to go through your answers towards the end of the test. This is very important point, sir. You will have to, my dear all, you will have to focus your gaze on the time. Basically, reading is the time management. How well you manage your time. It needs your time, while listening needs your concentration. Right? At the end, you should check you have not made any spelling mistake. These are some points. These are some do's and don'ts which you will have to do. And you have not messed up with the serial number of the answers. This is very big problem for the students. Let's suppose there are 3 passages. The second one passage is easy for the students. He starts reading it, but he should not mess up the serial. Let's suppose the answers of those questions start from question number 14. Because his was the first passage, he has given the answers on the first in the serial of first question. So they should not mess it up. In the serial, they should write down their answers. And the next time yourself, when you practice reading, and check at the end of the passage, how much time you spent over the entire task. You should keep an eye on your watch and other on your work. Right? These are some types of questions. Short answer question, multiple choice questions, sentence completion. Important and very difficult question is yes, no, not given. Yes is the which is given, no is which is contradicting, and not given which is just a fictitious one. So that will fall in that category. And completing a paragraph, matching names, dates, matching stems, and matching questions to stems, and matching the headings. Now we would like to move towards the writing module. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. But the writing module, basically, writing module is having 2 tasks. There are basically 2 modules for your overall IELTS. One is the general and the second one is the academic. General test is for the immigration purposes, for work purposes, while the academic is for getting some your further studies. Right? So both, there is a difference only just in writing module. In the academic, you are having 2 tasks. First task is based on the paragraph. graphic description, and the second paragraph, second task is based on your argumentative essay. There will be an statement about a question. You will have to write it down about his degree, agreeing or disagreeing. You will have to write, right? While in your general module, there is just one thing which is different. In the general module, the difference is between the task one. In general, in task one, you will have to write a letter. And you will have to spend your 15 to 20 minutes on that. For writing task 2, you will have to spend your 40 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes. In task 1, you need to write 150 words, not less than that. In task 2, you need to write 250 words, not less than that. Right? So this is your overall your writing module. This point, which I think last teacher, what was his name?
Ali. Professor Ali.
Professor?
Ali.
Ali, okay. He was discussing that students are very poor in their writing. The writing is basically poor because of low grammar. If we update our students with the help of grammar, they can write well. In your writing module, you are checked and assessed on the basis of your this writing, this grammar. You should know the exact sentence structure, you should know the tense properly, you should know the singular and the plural, you should know the adjectives as well. What is the first degree of adjective, the third degree of adjective, what sort of things you will have to use. So on the behalf of this grammar, our students can get maximum bands in their writing module. I can bet because I am having 30 years this training experience. When the students come to me, I just focus on their grammar. I ask them to, because overall in the world, except the Europe, English is going to be learned as a second language. Over here in Dubai, there the students are learning English as a second language because they will have to wrestle with that. Their jaws and everything is going to be fixed for their mother tongue. That is Arabic. If I talk about Pakistan, that is Urdu, right? Everything is fixed for that. When they are going to learn this language, they have to wrestle with its grammar, with its vocabulary, and most importantly, with its pronunciation, right? So that is the most important duty of the teacher, to handle all these things. When the teacher himself is updated, he can update his students too. Okay? So now I would like to tell you about speaking module. What the speaking module is, look at here. It takes up to just 15 minutes. There are 3 phases for your speaking. First part is speaking test in interview, which means just the examiner asks you the question about yourself. In the second part is a speaking test. Basically, you receive a cue card. You will have to speak on just for 3 to 4 minutes. And the third part is the questions are going to be asked related to that cue card. They will be linked with that. So basically, you are not going to be checked by your very hi-fi English. No, you will be assessed. Always use brother language, simple language. Communicate very accurately, exactly, fluently, because fluency and accuracy, pronunciation, these things are going to be checked. Nothing else is going to be checked. Right? So this is your speaking module. For my students, I give them some topics during their classes, and I make a group of 3 or 4. Then I give them, share some topics, and then I ask them to speak. Even my dumb students, especially in English, at the end of my session, they can speak very quickly. They are very fluent. They become very fluent. And they score even 8+ bands in the exam. Even in speaking, because speaking is very difficult for the students. They get 8+ bands. And I am proud of that. These are some tips and tricks for you, for your students. If you are going to conduct some classes for IELTS in Dubai, you will have to use these tips. Ask your students to speak as much as they can with their friends, with their fellows, with their family, with their juniors, with the strangers, and the teacher should keep an eye on them, what they are doing. He should just get the maximum points going to be used by their students, and then he should give his positive feedback to them. First, make your students fluent, and then you will have to accurate them. because accuracy comes later, but first make them fluent. Fluency comes with the help of the teacher. If the teacher is lending his helping hands, then the students can, I think, be fluent. Before leaving, I would like to give you some general tips. Talk to yourself. If you don't find anyone, talk to yourself. And make up stories. If you are talking to someone, make up stories. I went over there was such sort of the weather, like if your students are visiting some other country, ask them to make some stories, to speak and speak and speak, right? And the third one is, make your daily plans in English. What you will have to do, ask them their daily routines, from morning till evening, what do they do? Slowly, they will be, inshallah, fluent in English. And think about your job. Ask your students, if they are working, ask them to think about your job in English. What sort of my job is, what I am doing, right? And the next point is, explain your interest. Ask your student whatever the interest they are having, whatever the hobbies they are having, they should express through their tongues. And read the books. By reading the books, they will come across. The more you read, the more points you will get. And next point is, read about the news. You will have to read the news and talk to everyone you meet only in English. And introduce yourself in English. Make notes, explain your opinions, and remember one point: you are being marked on your speaking abilities, not on your knowledge. Just speaking abilities. What sort of speaking, I think, abilities you are possessing. And last but not least, my dear, you will be assessed on your fluency and coherence. Your talk must be coherent, and the vocabulary range of the grammar and accuracy and the pronunciation. And thank you very much. That's all from my side.